One piece of advice that almost killed my career as a pro basketball player was never be satisfied. What does that even mean? What is the point of life if the goal is to never be satisfied? No matter what I achieve, no matter what I do in my life, I'm not supposed to be satisfied? What kind of an existence is that? So I climbed Mount Everest. I'm not supposed to be satisfied because my goal was to climb Mount Everest 4 times. Now, I will say, you can be satisfied and continue to be ambitious at the same time. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. For those of you who don't know, my name is Anthony Watkins, professional basketball player, published author. List goes on. I make content every single day, and recently I took on the challenge to start making a long form video, not recording, making, editing, or not editing. This is probably going to be more uncut, and posting a long form YouTube video every single day. At least 10 minutes long. That's the idea, and we're back at it. I believe it's day 10. So, how can you be satisfied with your life but continue to be ambitious? Just continue to be ambitious. And if you're satisfied with something, guess what? Your natural inclination is going to be, how can I make it better? You shouldn't fear relaxing, because you see the people who get to the top and relax. Guess what? Secretly, they feel like they shouldn't be at the top. They don't feel like they belong at the top. That's why they relax. It's self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is hyper prevalent in our world today. I've seen it happen on the basketball court, in sports. I've seen it happen in relationships. I see it happen in business. We feel like we don't belong when we make it to certain places. And I think a big part of it is we might have a plan, we might have a goal, but we're stumbling our way to our goal. We're guessing our way to our goal. We don't have a concrete plan. We don't say, hey, okay, this is my goal, and I'm going to reverse engineer this. When I started reverse engineering my career and saying, hey, if I knew, for example, last season, right? It took me a lot longer to sign to play professional basketball last season than it did any other year. And that's a story for another day. But in that process, I said, hey, if I knew I was going to have the opportunity to have the best pro basketball season of my life, of my career, how would I train? How would I prepare? I don't think enough people ask that question, and even less people answer that question. If you look at it in terms of writing, because I'm an author, if I had the chance to write a New York Times bestseller, what would my writing process look like? So then when the book is finished and it's time to bring it out to the world, you know you've done the process necessary to have a chance at having a New York Times bestseller. You don't have to do any guesswork. You know, hey, this is a great book. And if it doesn't become a New York Times bestseller, that's okay. You can be satisfied with seeing something through. Because guess what? You're still breathing. You can write another book. You're going to learn from the process, no matter what. People look at Michael Jordan, right? And Michael Jordan is one of my favorite athletes, favorite people to look at when it comes to mindset. Because from the outside looking in, he looks like this ruthless, relentless competitor. And he is. He was never satisfied in that sense. Every single day he showed up to play the game of basketball, he wanted to win. The wins, it wasn't enough for him. This is where people get it twisted, though. Michael Jordan was in love with the game of basketball. He set out to love the game of basketball as much as possible every single day. That's why in his contract, he had a love of the game clause where he had to be allowed. He's Michael Jordan now, right? This is a big investment, $1 billion investment. They had to let him play basketball at any point in time. That was a source of his greatness, and they let him do that. They let the greatest basketball player of all time just run around and play basketball wherever he wanted to, because they knew his love for the game is what made him so great. People talk about Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality, right? Oh yeah, don't take a day off, don't get satisfied, job's not finished. I don't know if you've seen that clip. Kobe, they're in the NBA Finals. They won the first 2 games. He's not smiling, he's not happy. They ask him why he's not happy. And he said, what's there to be happy about? Job's not finished. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I might be wrong. I don't think Kobe actually meant that. I think Kobe, inside, was happy in some way, form, or fashion. Kobe Bryant, every single day, was living the dream that he worked for. And that included being on that stage, and that included the psychological warfare that goes along with being on a stage like that. I believe when he went home and went to sleep, he was like, yeah, Kobe. Yeah, you're doing good, Kobe. You're doing good. In some way, that doesn't mean that was his exact dialogue, but that was his feeling. He went to sleep that night, not like, it's not enough. It's still not good enough. It's not good enough. I still have to keep going. I still have to win this championship. Because guess what? I don't think he would have won. And I do think a small part of him was like that, because he mentioned his major goal was to beat the Boston Celtics. And when it came down to the last game of the series, he wanted it too bad. So he was aware of this. He clung to it so much that from an efficiency standpoint, he didn't have the best game. But he did all the little things that he needed to do to help his team win. And he secured the championship that he wanted. Had he really taken his own advice, what's there to be happy about? There's nothing to be happy about. We're only up 2 games. He wouldn't have been able to perform at his peak. And this is coming from somebody who was able to, in his own professional season, take his performance to another level, regardless of circumstances, and in circumstances where the pressure is higher. I was in the playoffs recently, and I was able to take my game to another level. And I realized it wasn't by gritting my teeth through it. No, it was about me enjoying the moment that I prepared for. It was about me saying, hey, Anthony, you've come this far. Anthony, you put in so much work. You reverse engineered this process to where you don't have any guesswork. You get to go into the test knowing you have the answers to the test. And yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but you don't need perfect. You doing what you do is going to be enough. And that's something you can be satisfied with. You might miss out on the championship. You might lose a game here or there. But you know you're going to show up and you're going to play the game you love until the scoreboard says you can't anymore. And I had the best postseason run of my career. I'm a 7-year pro. It's going on 8 years now. That's powerful. That was a powerful realization for me. I'm only 25 now. So I'm still learning in this process. I'm still growing. And this beard is still growing too. I need to shave it. I know I said that a couple videos ago, but this is what so many people miss. Hustle culture. Grind it out. If you're not hustling, you're not grinding. I see people talking about, oh yeah, I wake up at 4 a.m. and I have 3 different days before one person has one. Everybody's trying to be hyper productive, like all these different sound bites, all these different podcast clips. And as a young man growing up in this day and age, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to lock into. So I'm sitting here, man, like, what's the truth? Because on the other side of things, you kind of have this Zen culture. The law of reverse effort and let go to have everything. What in the world does that mean? I got Alex Hormozy talking about he lived in his gym and only focused on work and all these different things. And then on the other side of things, I have a manifestation teacher, let's say Neville Goddard, for example, who's talking about, the law of reverse effort and all these different things. So me, I had to find my way through all the information that's coming in, all of the philosophies that you can cling on to, and through the struggles of my own life. And this is what I've come to. I've come to understand that life is absolutely worthless if you don't enjoy it. Going for the things in life that you want to go for, setting goals, having dreams, are absolutely worthless if you don't enjoy them when you get there. There's no point. If you're not enjoying every step of the process, what are you doing it for? And I give this example in my book, Becoming Yourself. It's not out yet, but I give this example of, before this, my best season as a pro basketball player. I'm putting up career numbers, having incredible games. Outside looking in, you would think I'm living my best life. But guess what? I wasn't. On the court, it felt amazing. It felt so good on the court to be dominating. But as soon as I got back to my apartment and was on my couch and no one was there, I realized, man, this can't be it. Is this really it? Is this all there is to it? I just went out there, I had a game in my career, and I feel like I have nothing to show for it. The NBA is not knocking on my door. My phone is not ringing with any new offers. And even if it did, I'm going to probably stay here with this team. So my life isn't going to change overnight. But if I continue this process and I continue enjoying being here and enjoying being in this city, enjoying playing for this team, the results are going to take me further. So after that realization, that's when this video was born. And that's almost 3 years ago. Because I realized no matter how much I achieve, if I don't take the time to not like, hey, Anthony, you're doing a great job. No, to say, man, I know I worked for this, and I'm not going to let this slip away without enjoying it on some level. And it can be the joy of competing. It can be the joy of psychological warfare, saying like, oh no, like, yeah, 2 wins, it's not enough. And seeing how somebody responds. That could be it. And I can mean it dead serious in that moment, because I'm in that character of competing. And you're not going to see me slip out of that. And I'm going to test and see where your character is. But I'm not carrying that weight with me through an entire playoff run or a championship run. I can't. And if you're watching this and I just won an NBA championship, then hey, now you got the secret sauce. Are you going to be able to apply it? Or are you going to keep letting me win championships? Either way, I'm good with it. But I got some work to do, and I'm approaching the gym right now. So I'm going to cut it here. If you want to see more daily videos, if you want to check out the rest of the channel, make sure you do that. Make sure you're subscribed, and let me know your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear the stuff that you're struggling with, working through, and share a win with me. Take that first step and saying, man, I'm going to enjoy the success that I have by sharing it with me. That would mean a lot to me if I knew that I'm helping you. So I'm going to get in this gym, get to work. Got a lift planned with me and the team and the crew, the off-season crew. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. But don't forget, the best is yet to come.